What's up, y'all?
What up, it's Chaboy, back again with another video for you. This time I'm going to try to keep the videos on a positive side, since it is the Christmas season, or should I say holiday season. We need some happiness in our life.
Happy.
Because we all know as soon as those board games come out, shit gets real. I know how some of y'all families can get. It can go from Good Morning America to Jerry Springer real quick.
We've been waiting for this all morning long. Some beautiful puppies for Valentine's Day.
So for this Christmas and New Year's holiday, how about you turn on the computer and pass around the keyboard and play a couple of these games that I got for you. And if not, that's cool too. But keep these games in mind if you ever have a girlfriend that you want to get into gaming, or maybe you have like a little brother or cousin or something that needs entertained for an afternoon. But on that note, let's get into it. The first one on the list for today is Worms. So in a nutshell, Worms is a turn-based strategy game where the main goal is to kill everyone on the opposing teams and keep as many of your worms alive as possible. There are also tons of sequels and expansions to Worms. The one I'm playing here is Worms WMD. I'm pretty sure this is the newest one, but honestly, all sequels and expansions to Worms work exactly the same way. Even like 99% of all the weapons are the same. So once you learn one of these games, you've learned them all. And yeah, GOG has all the Worms copies on sale right now for less than $10. I mean, the most expensive one is like $5.99. Yeah. Not only is Worms less than $5, it's super clean. You're not going to offend anybody with it. So you can rest easy that if grandma walks through the room, she's not going to hear random profanity or anything else higher than PG rated. Unless you got one of those cool ass grannies like my favorite one here.
You know what? I ain't getting nobody a motherfucking thing for Christmas. Not a damn thing. I'll give them a damn fucking bag of shitty fucking diapers. That's what they're getting from me, motherfuckers.
There's also quite a few ways to make these games interesting. With all the custom multiplayer settings for local multiplayer, you can have insanely huge games. Like you can have 6 teams of Worms with 8 players on each team. So 48 total. Hopefully you don't have that many people to entertain. But games like this are great for big crowds, or when there's other stuff going on in the room. Because if you get more than 6 or 8 people playing, then it's going to be a good solid 10 or 15 minutes between each turn that you get. Like if somebody wants to play the game, but they also want to chat with people, or they also want to go get some dinner, they can run their turn really quick and then pass the keyboard off, and it won't be their turn again for another 20 minutes. So you'd still have time to mingle and eat, and then come back and play with the kids for another 5 minutes or so, and then go do what you want again. But enough hypotheticals. Let me explain the game. If you went to elementary school in the United States in the 80s or 90s, you played a version of this game. It was probably called Scorched Earth or Tank Defense or something like that. And Worms is literally the exact same game with a pretty face on it. And wisecracking worms. So all the basic rules still apply. Like you're going to have your power meter that tells you how far your shot's going to go with whatever weapon you're using. You have the angle of your shot, which is way easier to see in Worms than it is in the older games. And you also have the type of weapon you're using. It could be like a bazooka or a grenade or like a banana bomb or a sheep. And some of the weapons in Worms are just great. This is the first Worms edition I've seen with vehicles in it though. A little OP if you ask me.
It's magic!
Double kill. Multi-kill. Ultra kill. Monster kill. Monster kill. Kill.
Better than the DOS CMOS speaker sound effects you get from Scorched Earth. For some reason, though, whenever I see nuclear bombs go off in videos, I always picture that sound from Scorched Earth. It's just such an obtrusive sound. If robots could come, I'm pretty sure that's what it would sound like. And yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about Worms. It's been one of my go-to games for a very long time for like weird situations where I need to entertain people. And that one works, but my all-time favorite one is Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And that's what we'll move on to next, because it's just badass. Heroes is also like a turn-based strategy type of game. Kind of like Worms in a sense that you take turns using the same keyboard and mouse. Heroes calls this the hot seat multiplayer option. Heroes 3 plays a lot like a board game. I say that mainly just because of how balanced it is at the start game. It reminds me a lot of like Sorry or Monopoly, where everybody kind of starts really even. In most maps, all the players start pretty equal, and all of the castles and ability to build units is equal between all the castles. There's no advantage from any other castle, except maybe a little bit from the necromancy one just because of the free skeletons. For example, every castle has to build a mage guild level 1, a marketplace, and a blacksmith before they can build their castle or their capital. These kind of mechanics balance early game progression really well. Then the rest is kind of up to your choices. Like there's no right way to really do everything, especially for each castle it's going to be a little different. Because some of the units at certain levels will have different damage stats and different defense stats. So for example, like the vampire lords in the necromancy castle are super strong at level 4 because they have a healing ability where they'll resurrect themselves. But not very many units have that. So it's a lot of trial and error to figure out which guys work best for your strategies. Another good thing is this game isn't built on like luck strategies. You're not out there like grinding to find items or anything like that. It's almost purely skill based. It's just, do you get lucky in a couple of battles that swing your way? And do you find the right items at the right time? And do you build your castle efficiently? Or castles? Usually when I lose in this game, I feel like I deserved to lose, or I didn't plan right, or I kind of saw it coming. Like very seldom do I run into a spot where something seemed unfair. Which honestly to me is one of the biggest compliments you can give any video game. Any video game that can be that balanced is amazing. A masterpiece. I know I'm being vague with explaining how these games work, but there's a lot of strategy to them. I mean, hell, I could make 5 videos just on each one of these games and different strategies I've used in them. I'm just trying to give you some ideas for the holidays, so, you know, you might be able to throw a real fun game night sometime this week or something. But yeah, if you do have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll read them. I always read my comments. And there's very little I don't know about Heroes. So, I mean, if you have a question on that, I can probably answer it. Worms might be a little tougher. But Heroes 3 is by far, night and day, the best out of all of them. It's better than Heroes 4, and it's better than Heroes 5 by far. And the best part is, there's mad modding support for it. Like, people still making maps for this game that came out 20 years ago. There's a bunch of great sites where you can go download custom maps, edit them, make them multiplayer so that you can play with allies. Then you and your girlfriend or whoever can team up, you two versus 6 computers or however you want to do it. I always thought that was super fun though to do with friends, because then by the end of the campaign, you and your homeboy are just buff and have thousands of troops and shit, and then you just go give everybody the dick.
Big dick player.
Swinging past your knees.
Big dick baby.
Yep.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite ways to play video games with friends. Because like when I was in high school, we used to play Heroes and do our homework. And while the other person was taking a turn, the other person would do their homework or, you know, get something else done. Because as you progress through a campaign, your turns start to take longer and longer and longer because you have more and more heroes. You have more and more units to move around. Each one of your guys can move farther, so like things just start to take longer. It's just really unique. I don't know any other game that I can like do chores around the house and play at the same time. Not to mention, it's just a masterpiece of a game. It's balanced damn near perfectly. Like, you can't really pick a class that's too weak or too strong. Except that maybe the Necromancer is a little too strong. But barely. I mean, if you have a guy in any other castle and you get diplomacy and you swoop up a few archangels or black dragons or something, I mean, you're better than that Necromancer. So it's all about getting lucky too. And honestly, it would be hard for me to find any other game that has better music than this game does. I don't think there ever will be a game that has better music than Heroes 3. I mean, y'all can say what you want, but as you start to play this game, you'll notice you'll hear these sounds out and about, or like on TV or in different movies, like the sound when you collect a treasure chest when you're on the map. The History Channel uses the shit out of that. The music that plays when you end a week, too, is another one that's just used all over the place in TV. I know I've heard it on a South Park episode at one point. I'm sure even most of you that haven't played the game before have heard that somewhere. So yeah, I guess that's my quick overview for these games and kind of like a little advertisement for them, just to give them a try. They're both cheap right now. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on GOG has been $2.49 for the past like 3 years. I haven't seen it raise above $2.50 in years. So I mean, what do you got to lose? Well, thanks for watching and keep checking back. I'm working on a few more videos. I've kind of got things piled up. As they get done, I'll release them. Okay, I'm out.
Peace.